$590 trillion. To a lot of people, that number just sounds absolutely ridiculous. It sounds extremely exaggerated. But when we really think about what's happening right now around the world when it comes to the digital currency revolution, it doesn't seem all that far-fetched when we compare it to traditional financial assets and asset classes. And in this video, I actually want to address HBAR and XRP, and I actually want to talk about what's happening right now and why you need to be paying attention. You need to make sure that you are planning ahead. You need to make sure that you are locked in on the target right now. So with that being said, welcome to the channel, everyone. My name is Nick. For those that are new to the channel, hopefully by the end of this video, you do become a subscriber. So let's start off with this post because I saw it come up on my timeline, and I actually saw somebody quote it and said, you know, this is a ridiculous statement. He's thinking that it's all going to flow into Bitcoin, but he's actually not. It's interesting because it's coming from Michael Saylor, and he's saying that digital assets proposal to the Trump administration suggests that digital assets could grow to $590 trillion in value. Bitcoin has a market cap of $2 trillion right now. And here we could actually see digital capital growth. Expand global digital capital markets from 2 trillion to 280 trillion, with US investors capturing the majority of this wealth. Digital assets leadership. Drive growth in digital assets beyond Bitcoin from 1 trillion to 590 trillion, with the United States dominating this industry. And do you guys see that? Beyond Bitcoin. It feels as though Michael Saylor is finally realizing that it's not just about Bitcoin. There's a lot more to this space than Bitcoin. Bitcoin is not the focus. Now, building upon this, right, you might be saying 590 trillion, it's ridiculous. It's exaggerated, right? Let's go all the way back to 2021. I first saw this article back in May of 2021, and it was World Economic Forum. Blockchain could disrupt $867 trillion in traditional markets. This is 2021, mind you. Okay? Today, this $867 trillion is well over $1 quadrillion. And this is mainly addressing tokenization. This is when we really started to fully lock in on tokenization. This is when we started to do a lot more research and diving deep on the tokenization revolution, because we look at all of these markets, and one of them, derivatives, these are huge asset classes in and of themselves. Derivatives as a market has well over $700 trillion just tied to it by itself. So if we're going back to Michael Saylor saying, oh, well, 590 trillion, it's something that could happen. Now, is it going to happen overnight? Is it going to happen next week? Or is it going to happen next year? No. But we're already starting to see this massive revolution taking place. How do we know? Well, tokenization of financial assets has already started. It's already here. It's already happening. Now, on top of this, we have this. This is from June of this year. A lot of you probably don't know about this. You probably weren't, in the markets during this time. And if you were, you might even overlook this a little bit because a lot of people did. A lot of people did overlook this. We have here, hearing entitled Next Generation Infrastructure, How Tokenization of Real World Assets Will Facilitate Efficient Markets. Again, this is addressing tokenization in Congress with some of the biggest names out there. We're talking about Securitize initially, the DTCC, the USDF Consortium, and a few other players here. When we are thinking about what's happening here, look under legislation. Do you see what they're saying? To require the Commodity Futures Trading Commission and the Securities and Exchange Commission to conduct a study to assess whether additional guidance or rules are necessary to facilitate the development of tokenized securities and derivatives products and for other purposes. Again, derivatives are well over 700 plus trillion. Securities, the DTCC here, the global head of DTCC Digital Assets, is on, this witness list. Guess what? $3 quadrillion. The total value of securities processed in a single year in 2023, $3 quadrillion. Mind you, 2021, 2.42 quadrillion. 2022, 2.55 quadrillion. 2023, $3 quadrillion in 2 years. This has grown over $500 trillion by itself, and this is just securities. Think about how crazy the amount of money behind these players like the DTCC really is. I mean, this is, it's just crazy to me that people don't realize how big this revolution will be. And we actually have over here from DTCC Digital Assets. They're at the forefront of driving institutional adoption of digital technology with a steadfast commitment to innovation anchored in security and soundness. As the financial services industry's trusted technology partner, we pride ourselves on empowering a globally interconnected and efficient ecosystem. And this is all based around tokenization. They are fully embracing tokenization. They want to bring tokenization to the traditional markets. We even have here from February 14th of this year, bringing traditional assets to digital networks. Now, if we think about this, okay, Hedera recently put out a post back in the end of November, and it was titled, "Everything of Value Will Be Tokenized." The Hedera network enables seamless tokenization of real-world and digital assets at scale, offering unmatched performance, security, and compliance for thriving tokenized economies. Now, if you look into this ebook, you're met with just the, full front page exploring the emerging token economy, unlocking the potential of tokenized real-world assets. Now, if we scroll down, we could see some of the markets here, right? We have traditional finance. They have a case study around it. Carbon markets, digital currencies and cross-border payments, real estate, and commodities. And then we have the benefits of tokenization. But we have this high-level statement here. And I think that this is really kind of showing you guys where we're headed. Everyone is stuck on Bitcoin, but now we're starting to see people saying, all right, well, maybe it's not all about Bitcoin. Even Michael Saylor, one of the biggest Bitcoin maxis out there, is talking about going beyond Bitcoin. Here we have the creation and subsequent proliferation of DLTs as we know them today, spurred by the creation of Bitcoin, did more than introduce the world to cryptocurrencies. As is being increasingly explored at every level of emerging digital economy, the underlying infrastructure holds enormous potential to fundamentally revolutionize how institutions, enterprises, and individuals interact with one another, enabling new functionalities to disrupt traditional markets on a global scale across industries. A critical topic ever increasing both in interest and practical application is that of RWA tokenization, the digitization of physical or traditional assets represented on decentralized infrastructure such as blockchain or similar forms of DLT. The benefits of tokenization are numerous and varied, and are why key players in traditional finance, real estate, payments, and more are experimenting with and implementing this new and powerful functionality. As Web3 continues on its journey to becoming a core pillar of our future economy, asset tokenization introduces unprecedented opportunities, unlocking the true value of real-world assets through the utilization of DLT. And if we scroll down, we can see the current state of asset tokenization. We could see some predictions here from the BCG, 16 trillion, Roland Berger's 10 trillion, Citi, 5 trillion. These are big valuations even compared to today's market cap. Now, they do mention a lot of information here around just the current state of tokenization. We know where we're at, and we know that tokenization is going to just become one big tsunami hitting this market in such a large way. And I don't think that's going to, take that long. I think that the benefits are already there. We could even see down here, the benefits in terms of settlement time. You have the traditional process here in terms of asset transfer process. You have 1 to 3 days in terms of settlement time, minutes and seconds in terms of settlement time utilizing tokenized processes. And you're cutting out the bank and the broker. You're cutting out the intermediaries. You're even cutting out the clearinghouse. Because DLT and blockchain offers everything that a bank and broker is offering, and then it's also clearing and settling all of those assets. Even when we look more into the players around this, we have Hedera being tapped in heavily by, Aberdeen, Archix, Red Swan. There's so many big names. We're looking at these markets And we know that Hedera is at the forefront of almost every single one of these markets. I love the complete breakdown by Hedera. I might do a full deep dive on just like, how Hedera is powering the tokenization revolution, because there is a lot here to really kind of focus on. There's a lot to read. And I do think everyone should go and check out this ebook, because it is a very solid overall educational ebook on why tokenization is going to be 100 times bigger than what it is right now. And at some point in time, it's probably going to be 1,000 times bigger. And that's not me exaggerating. Now, on top of this, right, Hedera is a key player. They're driving, a lot of what we see around the tokenization space. They're absolutely killing it. And when we look at Ripple, right, Ripple has been at the forefront. Here we have asset tokenization today and tomorrow. This goes back to July of this year. If we scroll down, we could see the estimated worth of asset tokenization today is as much as 3.5 billion. I think now it's actually at like 13 billion. That's how fast it grew. And with projections that it could reach 16 trillion by 2030, the tokenization market represents a massive opportunity. So what's holding the technology back from fully realizing its potential? That was the question posed during the London Tokenization Policy Summit held earlier this year. And remember what I've always said, it always starts in London. Hosted by Ripple and the Imperial College Business School's Center for Financial Technology, the summit brought together top minds in academia, industry, and politics to decode the future of digital assets. And when we think about the real deal of tokenization, which they do mention here, we can see all of the significant benefits, with a promise to remove payment gateway intermediaries, improve payment processor efficiencies, ensure data protection, data privacy, and transparency, and enable real-time settlement. Tokenization is championed as the real deal function of blockchain technology. Its potential for significant impact across a broad range of sectors is massive. And yes, we literally look at this as a massive revolution to finance. Even down here, we have a new financial framework. Central to the topic of tokenization is the importance of a robust regulatory framework to underpin the tokenized economy. Once in place, this framework would provide the necessary structure, safeguards, and confidence needed for sustainable growth and development. And this is when we start to see the floodgates truly open, and we start to see the trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars that we talk about all the time flooding in. And we actually have down here that the regulatory variance between countries regarding real-world assets versus more standardized rules for digital assets is one key challenge. This is especially problematic in Europe, where a pan-EU approach is hindered by differing traditional ownership rights within each member nation. And they just talk about the gaps here. They talk about why, we really do need, regulatory certainty and clarity around this space. That way we could finally realize in the potential of tokenization. We have one thing is abundantly clear. Tokenization is more than just a buzzword. It's a rapidly growing movement that is poised to reshape the financial landscape at the highest level. Using the tokenization process to improve efficiencies and interoperability between countries could significantly cut into the 5 to 6% of global GDP lost every single year to friction in the system, boosting overall long-term revenue for every market participant. Banks, traditional finance players, and regulators are all key to furthering this adoption of tokenization. Realizing its full potential will require a concerted effort incorporating policies that enable scaling, regulatory clarity, and continuous education and collaboration. And what's crazy about this is if we really look beyond just this post and we go over here to the emerging tokenized economy part 1, this was from February 7th of this year. We're met with a few things here. Okay. They do mention Project Guardian, which is huge. That's with some of the biggest banks out there. It's actually around the Polygon network. It's a big player, right? But if we look at, if we look down here, we're met with the first installment of a 3-part series, because this is part 1. They did 3 parts to it around tokenization and the impact to global business charts, the evolution and growing adoption of this groundbreaking technology, specifically how and why more enterprises are turning to tokenization to unlock liquidity, enhance efficiency, and realize transparency, ultimately delivering on the promise of the internet of value. And this is what I want you guys to focus on. We could talk about tokenization. We could talk about the trillions and trillions of dollars out there that tokenization will, affect essentially. But I want you guys to understand something very, very important here. This is all based around the internet of value. When you go over to the internet of value from Ripple, we see building the internet of value. enabling the world to move value the way information moves today. Build breakthrough crypto solutions for a world without economic borders. This is all through blockchain technology, by the way. They are enabling global financial institutions, businesses, governments, and developers to move, manage, and tokenize value, helping to unlock greater economic opportunity for everyone, everywhere. And we have down here, increasing global access and equity by building an inclusive, streamlined, sustainable financial system. They are literally building a completely new financial system through tokenized and digital currencies and assets. This is a completely new financial system. And at the heart of Ripple's approach is XRP and the XRP ledger, which is documented on almost every single Ripple document. Even when we go back over here to the tokenization, the tokenized economy, we could see a complete breakdown of, what's happening, how it's happening. And we know that they are fully embracing XRP throughout this entire process. When you look at tokenization, when you look at all of the tokenized, the tokenization announcements from this year, you look at the stablecoin, you look at what Ripple is fully, focused on. It has XRP and XRP, like the XRPL, at the heart of everything here. They even said with the stablecoin, it's going to enable the tokenization revolution for institutions. It's also going to bridge into the institutional DeFi space as well. When we look at Ripple and when we look at Hedera, they are two major players that are at the forefront of this. There is going to be massive amounts of money tokenized. We initially look at players like the DTCC simply because of the $3 quadrillion behind them, but it's not just going to stop at $3 quadrillion. There's going to be so much value moved over these networks, living on these networks. I just want you guys to realize the opportunity in front of us, because I know we're quick to, buy in, sell, and, take our profits. But I want you guys to understand the long-term path here. And when I say long-term, I'm more so thinking about like 5 to 10 years. I don't even think it's going to take that long. But when we think about this, all right, we could quickly see XRP and HBAR, depending on the time to scale, the time to adopt. We can quickly see these assets becoming multi-trillion-dollar assets. It would not surprise me if XRP and HBAR had $1 trillion in market cap tied to them in 5-10 years. And I say that because think about where Bitcoin is today. Think about where Ethereum is today. Now think about how disruptive Ethereum versus Hedera really is. Hedera wins that fight all day long if we're really thinking about, competitive technology. The XRPL versus Ethereum. Again, the XRP ledger wins that fight all day long if we're thinking about competitiveness. I want you guys to realize this because this space is set for mass adoption. Once we have regulations in place, that's the only last major obstacle left. And it feels like that's going to be lifted in 2025. So now is the best time to make sure that you have a plan in place. You're preparing yourselves and you're making sure that you have an exit plan, written down. That way you can make sure that you not only succeed in the short term, the midterm, but also the long term. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on because more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord in the description below. And with that being said, guys, it's been Nick. Thanks for watching. Peace out.